the marathon, symbolising endurance, perseverance and personal achievement. Tracing back to the legend of Phidippides, a Greek soldier who ran 26.2 miles from the battlefield of Marathon to Athens to deliver news of victory in 490 BCE. In modern culture, large marathons like those in New York, Boston and London have become iconic, reinforcing a sense of global unity. But here we are in the Scottish Highlands to take on the lesser-known Loch Ness Marathon. Loch Ness's blend of natural beauty, ancient mystery and modern fascination makes it one of the most iconic locations in Scotland. Formed approximately 10,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age, it holds the largest volume of fresh water in Britain. According to legend, St. Columba, an Irish missionary, encountered a water beast in the River Ness in 565 AD, which some associate with the origins of the Loch Ness Monster. So let's go monster hunting. As weird as it sounds, this will be my first ever marathon event and therefore my first ever best effort attempt at the distance. I've ran the marathon distance almost 50 times as part of ultramarathons at the end of a full distance Ironman distance triathlon, but never as a singular goal. I began this process with the intimidating aim of running sub 3 hours, but after badly spraining my ankle running an ultramarathon across the island of Ibiza, I couldn't really run for the best part of 6 weeks. So I've adjusted my expectations and I'm going into this event with one simple aim: to give it my all and enjoy the process of doing so with a great group of athletes that we brought along to do exactly the same thing. Scotland is my home. It's where I was born, it's where I grew up, and it's where I have since returned to, and it is where I shall stay. From the Keltman Extreme Triathlon, to the Dinnie Stones, to my first ever Highland Games event, to running 250 kilometres in one go from Edinburgh to Ben Nevis, to swimming Loch Earn end to end. I might be biased, but I think you'll struggle to find a better location anywhere in the world for some adult PE. So much so that on the way up to the Loch Ness Marathon in Inverness, I decided to finally scratch the itch and pulled over to the side of the road to tackle the Dalwhinnie Stone. A 102 kilo, 225 pounds granite stone, first recorded in 1912 when a local newspaper reported that the well-known Highland Games athlete A.A. Cameron carried the stone into the bar of the hotel, placed it on the counter and demanded a pint. A pint for me would have been rather foolish given the whole, running a marathon set of circumstances in which we are operating here. So after several attempts, a very compromised pair of hamstrings and quite a sore lower back, I just shouldered it and got back in the car to head up towards Inverness. The day before was pretty simple. Get registered, bend the rules on the scientifically defined parameters of carb loading before a team meal and an attempt at a good night's sleep. The event village was buzzing, and one of my favourite things about this whole experience is that it felt very welcoming to all. Whether you were running 2:19 as the winner did, or aiming for sub 6 on your first ever marathon, it felt like a great event to be a part of and something that I'm confident spurred people along the way. I didn't have the best night of sleep, which the night before an event can often be the case, but with a sunrise like this one to wake up to, it was difficult to not get excited to immerse myself in the scenery of the Highlands. Down the road to the buses before heading up to the start line, and what made for quite a pleasant experience, as surprisingly I didn't really feel any spike in nerves. Having adjusted my approach from a hard and fast time goal to one that was really just focused about giving it my all, this in many ways gave me the freedom to just get out there and enjoy it and execute and piece together all of the training that had led to this point. I can't speak for everyone on the bus, however, as the general atmosphere told a story, and rightly so. Toilet breaks, bag drops, chit-chat and finding a space to kick off from, that was it. Game time. The first section of the course is downhill and creates a bit of a false sense of security by making you feel like the Loch Ness Monster on wheels before reality sets in, adrenaline drops off, and the course levels out. It's a hilly course, this one, with 3 specific spikes that prove to be a real challenge, with one of them being lovingly referred to as the Monster. And I'll shortly find out as to exactly why. Going off of feel and my perception of effort primarily, I quickly found myself in a group moving at a similar pace, which really did create that sense of shared purpose that makes events like this so rewarding. After 4 miles, we hit the first of 3 rather punchy hills, and I quickly started to feel like the Loch Ness Monster without wheels. My aim was always to positive split this course given its elevation profile, and my strategy to be able to do that from a fueling point of view was about 80 grams of carbs per hour, a 250 milligram tablet of sodium with every water station, and about 330 millilitres of water every time I got the opportunity. With gel stations every 5 miles and water stations every 3, along with a suitably stocked up race belt from the start line, I found it really quite easy to execute this fueling strategy, and this is something I've had a lot of practice with, so it wasn't a huge concern for me going into my first ever best effort marathon. 9 miles in and we finally arrived alongside the loch as the course became rather undulating and my legs started to become somewhat concerned. Amazing scenery and a smaller pack to run with meant that I actually really appreciated the time to kind of be alone with my own thoughts and just get my head down and crack on through what was essentially the graveyard shift of this marathon course. I knew that my legs were deteriorating, but I didn't feel like I'd pushed too hard, so my focus lasered in on the hills to come. I had some great chats with people along the way and really tapped into anyone that had some local experience knowledge having done the course before. Here we go. The aid station that provided some short-lived comfort before the long-lived hill, the Monster. I slammed a caffeine gel at this point, hoping for 2 distinct outcomes. Number 1, that it gave me a burst of energy, and number 2, that it didn't lead to me shitting myself, as can often happen when consuming caffeinated gels mid-endurance event. Thankfully, I survived the hill by dropping my pace right back to account for my 93 kilo, 205 pound body weight, not remembering that there was in fact one more punchy hill remaining, which caught me a little bit off guard and changed my mood from one of thriving to one of merely surviving. Into Inverness finally as the crowds picked up along with their pints. Upon reflection, I probably could have kicked about 500 metres sooner, but as I saw the finish line coming into sight, I was just really confident in the knowledge that I'd executed a good race, I'd enjoyed the process, and I'd accomplished my one simple aim: to give it my all and enjoy the process of doing so with a great group of athletes that were also there to do the exact same. 3 hours, 10 minutes and 47 seconds. Loch Ness Marathon complete.
We have absolutely nailed it in the pacing here over the last couple of miles.
If I'm honest, navigating injury over the summer put me into a little bit of a hole mentally, not because it put sub 3 out of reach, but because it kind of just knocked me out of my day-to-day routine and rhythm around some other sort of big personal challenges that I've been dealing with. Not having consistent running and lifting routine around injury did make me feel a little bit not like my normal self. I've had bursitis in my left hip since running 250 kilometers in one go at the end of March that I haven't really been able to shake, and this has stopped me from consistently or in fact squatting at all since then. And anyone that watches the channel regularly will know that my personality is almost entirely dependent on my ability to squat big weights. I'm always hyper conscious of managing my training and recovery to avoid problematic injuries, and for the most part, for the past 6 or so years, whilst I've fully been taking the piss with my body, I've been able to do this quite well. So this marathon wasn't performance driven for me per se, and in many ways I can almost reframe the injury and the mental challenge that I've had to deal with to get to the start line, let alone the finish line, as a blessing, because it allowed me to refocus and recalibrate on my goals and my interaction with this event, and it's had a fantastic outcome. Why? Well, it's given me the freedom to enjoy the process for the sake of the process. It gave me the freedom to truly enjoy an amazing weekend with a group of like-minded people. It gave me the freedom to look up from my watch and embrace this unbelievable scenery. It gave me the ability to learn, to recover, and to springboard myself into what is going to be a sub-3 attempt. Training for me is freedom. The freedom to explore, the freedom to express, and the freedom to evaluate, all of which are quite difficult to come by in the modern world. For the first time in a few months, in the event village at the end, rolling around the floor in pain and sharing experiences with others, I felt truly free. And that is where I see the value in committing to goals that scare you, because you will always be better on the other side of that commitment, whatever the outcome. I choose to be in omnia paritus, prepared in all things. What do you choose?
Kevin McDonald, what up to you?
Tell me about your run.
Run was very good. Pleasantly surprised with how I finished. PB'd. Previous time run was 3:36 and this time it's 3:18:45. So yeah, really delighted with the time. The training program helped massively with that. So yeah.
Well, awful. No, it was fantastic. I got PB, really nice run. Had a great weekend. The training plan was really good. I got some PBs in training, and yeah, just a great weekend, great group of guys, and I'm glad the run's over, but I enjoyed the process.
Great energy the whole weekend. Great bunch of like-minded people. Run was fantastic. Felt really strong the whole way through. PB 3:58, so very happy with that. Never dreamed that it'd have a 3 in the number, so that's fantastic. Yeah, great weekend all around.
The run was beautiful. Best course I've ever ran on, and the race was really good. It's a special race for me as I was recovering from a big accident where I got a ruptured spleen, 8 by 2 centimeters, and bled internally for 3.5 litres, which was now about 5 months ago. And then about 3 months ago, I found this program, which I was like, it's either going to backfire or it's going to demand the best of me, and it really did that. The training program really helped me to properly get back into training and yeah, demanded the best of me.
First marathon, thoroughly enjoyed my time with the Omnia guys this weekend, and had a lot of fun with their training program over the last few months. Can't walk now, but thoroughly enjoyed it.
Experience was fantastic. Omnia team is always great, especially the nutrition aspect. It was actually really helpful for the prep. And for the run today, I felt really just like dialed in, so Tom was doing an amazing job. Team is awesome, great event.
Great to be part of the Loch Ness Marathon with Team Omnia Performance, look after everybody's nutrition, see loads of PBs, everyone enjoying their training and the race day itself. Personally as well, I've knocked 13 minutes off my marathon PB, which I'm absolutely blown away with. Testament to the programming, all of Fergus and Johnny's support. Highly recommend you get involved with the next one.